I have a last question, and then we're going to go out to you for questions, so think them up. Who are you going to vote for?
Who am I going to vote for? Right now, it's looking like Kerry. I mean, unless there's a crazy Hail Mary. I mean, I'm not saying he's out of it, and something could change, but I would be stunned if something happened to change my mind. And that's not, in any way, I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm just telling you honestly that at this point, I have never seen reality distorted in a manner that makes me feel like they're trying to gaslight me. And I don't think that effective policy means say it louder and more times. Doesn't work for me. And Iraq was a mistake. And when the president says, history will judge if I made mistakes, you know what? We don't have the luxury for history to judge it. You better judge it now. We don't have the time. And the idea that he can't think of one, I got a list. And I'd be happy to talk to him about it. And as far as I'm concerned, Kerry, does that mean he'll do a better job? I have no fucking idea. But if one guy drove me into a ditch and says, don't worry, I know how to drive us out of this, I'll give the keys to a 7-year-old at that point.
Questions?
She wants you to speak up. Your loud works.
Oh, it does. Right. Cool. Thanks.
If you would, just stand up and identify yourself and ask your question. Thank you, Jeff. Yes.
Somebody?
Malik
Hey.
Malik Sarwar, Citigroup.
By the way, Citigroup's a hell of a group.
Thank you.
One of the top groups. I've been to Town Group, not so popular.
We don't know what we do, but we do a great job at that.
Thank you.
A complaint and a quick question.
Yes.
My 13-year-old stays up from 11 to 11:30 because of your show, and she doesn't get enough sleep. So can you please move it a little?
Let me explain the importance of watching television. I can't stress it enough for children. I think it's a wonderful authority figure, parent, friend. Television is really all she needs, sir.
What's the question?
The question is, I'm a Muslim American. How do we win the peace by reaching out to the 1.2 billion Muslims in the world and 7 million in the U.S. who are yearning for the same thing?
Freedom is on the march. I can't tell you how good I feel about liberty. Electricity and water, that's fine. But liberty, oh, sweet, delicious liberty. 7-layer cake of liberty. If I knew that, I would be, listen, the clash of people that we don't understand the Muslim community doesn't understand us, and certainly the stubbornness of an administration that has, I would think that the main tenet of a war on terror is to strengthen the moderates in the Muslim world, who clearly need strengthening. And I'm not so sure that I would have no idea how to do that. I mean, literally, I'm a Jew. Like, I'm just glad you didn't take a swing at me. Like, I don't know. I know we're supposed to be fighting and Israel. Like, first of all, what was God thinking in putting all his holy sites in one area? Like 2 blocks from each other. What is the idea for God that the chosen people, he just like put it in there and is like, I just want to see who wants it more. Like, what? I don't understand that.
Questions? Yes. Wait for a microphone.
Joanna Malloy, New York Daily News. What did you think of the Minnesota senator who has removed his staff from Capitol Hill and says he won't bring his family there after he read intelligence memos?
The guy, after he read the intelligence memos? Well, look, I mean, the intelligence memos clearly, I mean, some of them have titles like Bin Laden will attack in the U.S., and you can either ignore them or you can pack up your shit and go. I mean, This guy read it. Clearly, courage not his issue. He's leading by making a stand. I don't know anything about it. That again, the idea that so much of this country's business is conducted in the dark, I think is a crime. And the idea that a guy can go, I just read a memo and I'm packing, I'm going to get out of here, and nobody goes, can we look at that? Like, I don't understand. It makes absolutely no sense to me. The idea that the president, the things that go on, the idea that the vice presidential debate wasn't an hour and a half of looking at Dick Cheney and going, Halliburton does business with Iran? Like, every question should have just ended with the moderator going, and they do business with Iran? From an offshore company in the Cayman Islands? Dude, that's insane. That's what we should be talking about.
Yes.
Jenny Anderson from the New York Post. You frequently comment on how scary
By the way, it's good that they separated.
you suck!
I know how that gets. Better.
We put people in
This
dresses
is
on
the
our cover.
distance it needs to occur at. And the Times, right here. Interesting. Interesting. Nice. All right. No, it's nice. I think it's good. By the way, the New York Sun said they'll be here soon. They'll get here. You'll see.
They're still working on their headlines.
It's going to take time.
You frequently comment on how scary it is that a growing number of young people get their news from you.
Yes.
Now that you know that for a fact, do you look at your responsibility any more seriously?
No. I don't look at.
Since you've commented on how bad the media is, that
Yes.
actually.
No, and clearly bad, and I meant you mostly. But the thing is this. But the issue is, who better than an Australian to understand what we need to know? The issue is this. That I have found my complaint about when people say most kids are getting their news from you is not that I'm worried they're getting their news from me. The truth is I know they're not. Because you can't. Because we don't do it. We just don't have it. There's not enough news to get. It's crumbs. And kids today get their news from, this is why I think, when we talk about the news, I don't talk about the 6 o'clock broadcast or the 6:30 broadcast, because that's not enough people get their information anymore. People don't get home at 6:30 anymore and go, honey, what happened in the world today? People know it already. They know it by 7 when they click onto Yahoo or Google. Kids are more informed and more inundated by information. They learn by osmosis to a certain extent. And if they came to our show without knowledge, our show would make any sense to them. It would be like Charlie Brown's teacher talking. It would just be wah, 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 wah. We assume so much knowledge on our show. We do not instruct ever. Only in certain stories we will lay out parameters, but we do not instruct, and we assume a knowledge base. And if a kid, I'm very impressed with most young people's base of knowledge that I meet. And the only study that I had heard that validated any of it was Annenberg did a study that our viewers were better informed than people who actually watch the news. So they're not getting their news from us. They're coming to us to find out, what the funny is on it. Because if we stopped being funny, they'd watch something else. They'd stop the next day. Our mandate is to be funny. And when that ends, the show ends. And it will, believe me.
Gentlemen, wait for a microphone to come, if you would.
I have nothing to say. I just want to watch them run.